Now on CBC Vancouver News.
Very hard worker, very good at what he did, and he will be missed.
A Vancouver Island community remembers a helicopter pilot, one of two people killed in the crash on BC's Central Coast. Plus,
everyone's really upset.
Another mill closes in BC, pushing 300 employees out of work in a sector already battered by shutdowns. And the BC government wants to seize two homes owned by a man accused of being a drug smuggling gang boss.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. We're learning more about one of two people killed after a helicopter crashed just north of Campbell River on Tuesday. One of the victims is the pilot. As Troy Charles explains, his small community is now feeling his loss immensely.
The town of Port McNeill is mourning the loss of one of their own. West Coast Helicopters has confirmed their employee, Riley Brown, was piloting a helicopter that crashed early Tuesday morning.
The family's been around forever, very, very involved in the community. So a huge loss. The word went around town fairly quickly, and a lot of long faces.
West Coast Helicopters are also based out of Port McNeill. They say the aircraft was conducting forestry operations in the Lockborough Inlet between Campbell River and Port McNeill when it went down. Their general manager, Sean Smythe, says two passengers with Crowhurst Forest Management Group were on board, one of whom also died. Their identity is not being shared at this time. BC Emergency Health Services says the survivor was airlifted to hospital in stable but serious condition.
We're a tight-knit crew. Our thoughts are with the other crew that lost a member as well. Yeah, it's been hard on everybody. Thoughts are with the families of the two that were lost.
Smythe, seen taking this selfie with Brown to the right, says Brown was an experienced pilot who had been with the company for 5 years.
He was a pretty key member of our crew. We brought him right up from starting flying. Very hard worker, very good at what he did, and he will be missed.
Less than 2 years ago, a helicopter operated by West Coast Helicopters crashed north of Tofino, killing the pilot who was the lone occupant. An investigation found the pilot had been operating in reduced visibility conditions in mountainous terrain. Back in Port McNeill, the town of roughly 3,000 is reeling.
Riley, who left the forest industry as a young man and transitioned into helicopter. And when somebody local does that, makes that move, we're all very proud of that. So the loss is felt by so many people.
The Transportation Safety Board says its investigators were heading to the crash site first thing Wednesday morning. Troy Charles, CBC News, Vancouver.
It is the latest blow for BC's already battered forestry sector. Canfor has announced it is closing another mill, this time in Prince George. As the CBC's Hannah Peterson reports, about 300 people are set to be out of work.
It's going to hit really hard.
Ryan Zanette has worked at the Northwood Pulp Mill for 9 years. He's also the interim president for Unifor Local 603.
They just called everyone out to the front and announced a closure, and that's all we've heard.
Canfor announced Tuesday that it will be shutting down the mill due to what the company describes as unsustainable financial losses. It'll put about 300 workers out of work. Prince George Mayor Simon Yu says the closure is devastating, but he hopes it's just another bump in the road for the city.
The economy has diversified to the extent that we know we're going to survive as a city. But having said that, it still hurts.
Neil Godbout is the executive director of the Prince George Chamber of Commerce. He says the impact will be widespread.
It's huge for the city. And I think we need to start with the fact that residents and businesses that pay taxes, you are going to feel this.
Canfor blames global pulp markets and difficulty accessing affordable fiber supply, an ongoing complaint from other forestry companies. The announcement follows multiple other curtailments or closures in recent years that have resulted in thousands of lost jobs. Previous Canfor closures include here in Prince George, as well as in neighboring communities like Houston, Bear Lake, and Vanderhoof.
Well, any decision is a little bit jarring. Unfortunately, we knew there was the potential for additional closures.
MLA for Prince George Mackenzie, Cal Giddens, is calling for urgent change.
This is a really tough time. We need to actually continue an industry that is a renewable resource, that we can actually move forward. We have fiber available in the region.
The company said the shutdown will be finalized towards the end of 2026. Hannah Peterson, CBC News, Prince George.
The BC government wants to seize 2 homes owned by an alleged drug smuggling gang boss. The owner was recently arrested as part of a global investigation targeting 3 India-linked crime groups. As John Hernandez explains, the province claims the properties came from crime.
This home in White Rock is the last known address of an alleged drug kingpin. Ravinder Danda is one of 3 BC men arrested in the international investigation dubbed Operation Hardball. He's accused of running a drug smuggling ring that trafficked hundreds of pounds of cocaine and methamphetamines from Mexico through the U.S. into Canada between 2023 and 2025. Allegations yet to be proven in court, but the BC government has already issued a civil forfeiture claim on 2 of his properties, his home in White Rock and another in South Surrey. The claim lists Ravinder Singh Danda and his spouse Manjeet Kaur Danda as defendants. It says they did not have sufficient lawful employment, income, and or legitimate business income to acquire, finance, improve, maintain, or preserve the properties. And the homes are the proceeds and instruments of unlawful activity. While Manjeet Danda hasn't been charged with anything yet, the claim argues she knew or ought to have known the manner in which the properties were being used. The White Rock home is assessed at $3.7 million. The Surrey property, nearly $2.7 million.
This is exactly the type of case that civil forfeiture is designed for.
This lawyer says the civil forfeiture bar is much lower than a criminal conviction.
The balance of probabilities is essentially it's more likely than not. So think about it as 50% plus 1 that you're involved in illegal activity. You can contrast that with the criminal law, which the government needs to prove that you're guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
None of the civil forfeiture claims against the Dandas have been tested in court. Ravinder Danda is awaiting a bail hearing scheduled as part of extradition proceedings. John Hernandez, CBC News, White Rock.
The community of Armstrong is grappling with the aftermath of an overnight fire. The CBC's Jacqueline Gelano explains the blaze badly damaged several businesses in the town's historic core.
A fire started in Armstrong's Wild Oak Cafe shortly before 11 p.m. on July 14th. The fire quickly spread to the neighboring Twisted Pearl Yarn Studio.
It's more than just a business. It is a community gathering place. There was a group of knitters. People stopped in at the yarn shop. People on bikes would stop in at the coffee shop. There was a wonderful place to sit out back, and it was just a place for gathering.
Kelly Brown is an avid knitter that used to visit the now destroyed Twisted Pearl Yarn Shop several times each week with her friends. The building is now in ruins, with yarn tangled up with charred debris in the street. The Great Wall restaurant next door suffered water and smoke damage, and the Wild Oak Cafe is destroyed.
Yeah, it got into the attic and roof space of the building, and proved to be a bit of a stubborn fire to deal with there.
Armstrong Fire Department Chief Ian McKechnie says the cause of the fire is still under investigation. But the buildings that burned are more than 100 years old and didn't have firewalls separating them. Mayor Joe Kramer says it's a devastating blow.
We have people travel here just to go to these businesses. They're a big part of our community, and it's going to be a great loss.
The impacted businesses say they are still assessing next steps. Jacqueline Gelano, CBC News, Armstrong.
Darius Madavi is here for a first look at the weather and some alerts on the map.
That's right. We have some heat warnings in place today and tomorrow throughout parts of the southern interior, including the Okanagan Valley and up in the Thompson-Nicola region. That's because temperatures there getting up to about 36, 37 degrees Celsius, definitely meriting a heat warning there. We also have an air quality warning for the Fraser Canyon because of the intense smoke around that region as well. Earlier today, that was also reaching over to Kamloops, although I'm not 100% sure right now because the heat warning might be covering it. With that said, that smoke is going to continue to drift in and out, although the haze is going to be shifting further west, which we'll see in a moment. We also have seen some thunderstorms tracking throughout the southern interior tonight, mostly down around the border and then heading towards the southeast. We'll be keeping an eye on those. And in terms of fires, we still have about a couple dozen across BC. If we zoom in here, of course, we've been keeping an eye on the perimeters of the Ainslie Creek and Brunswick Creek fires, the Brunswick complex together. And fortunately, minimal growth based on the fire perimeters, based on what the Wildfire Service has told us. That is good news, but we're going to see if it lasts because, again, they've deployed a lot of resources to it, but the weather is really going against them. We might see some of that smoke continue to drift, this time towards the west, so maybe places like Whistler and Pemberton getting a bit of haze in the days ahead. If we zoom out here, we can take a look at the temperatures we're going to be seeing. Fire danger, of course, very high to extreme across the southern interior. And in terms of temperatures, again, we saw them reach 36, 37 degrees in the south today. Tomorrow's a pretty similar story. We get a bit of reprieve on the weekend, but another heat wave is possible next week, Dan. So we're going to be keeping an eye because it is a rapidly developing situation.
No kidding, Darius. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Police are busy trying to piece together a deadly motorcycle crash on the Sea to Sky Highway near Lions Bay. But just days after that crash, police say shocking and egregious speeding continues in that busy corridor. Alana Kelly reports on the latest incident involving another rider and the calls for change.
What happened during a motorcycle crash that left one woman dead is still not clear as investigations continue.
The provincial highway is killing people. And that has a ripple effect for their friends and family and loved ones, of course, and also for the rest of the road users.
Hundreds of people spent the night on the Sea to Sky Highway stuck in gridlock and unable to turn around.
I certainly recognize how challenging it was for people stuck on the Sea to Sky.
7 days after that incident, another female motorcyclist was caught speeding nearby the crash site. Police say she was going 177 in an 80 zone.
Time and again, we see this issue with excessive speed. This is a shocking speed. To be 97 kilometers per hour over the limit is an enormous risk to yourself and everybody around you.
Average speed cameras could help curb one problem, says a BC transportation safety expert.
I think that would move us more towards safer and more consistent speeds as well.
Crashes in January, February, March, and June also forced this highway to be closed for hours.
Well, the fact that it's happening often is, of course, I think a wake-up call if it wasn't already realized.
Conversations are turning to highway improvements, which the mayor says he's not seeing.
There's investments to be made to prevent these types of outcomes.
Nearly 17 years ago, $600 million worth of upgrades were done to this highway before the 2010 Winter Olympics.
But really, since that time, outside of what I would call regular maintenance, I haven't seen that continued improvement to the infrastructure that we rely on really to function here.
From Horseshoe Bay to Squamish, there are 4 stretches where the winding highway is reduced to a single lane. Where the fatal crash occurred, there were no middle barriers.
The whole idea is to prevent those head-on collisions that could be much more serious.
The province says safety in this corridor is reviewed on an annual basis.
Incidents like this are a reminder that you can still do better, right? It's about continuous improvement.
He suggests a review of the highway itself, but in the short term, it appears no immediate changes are being made to this deadly highway. Alana Kelly, CBC News, Squamish.
Imagine paying thousands of dollars to see your favorite musical artist only to find your view obstructed. Well, some angry Taylor Swift fans lashed back at the ticket reseller StubHub. The result? After this.
I'm Stephen Quinn, and I love living here in Vancouver, BC.
It's a city with world-renowned beauty, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. In our new daily podcast, This is Vancouver, we're exploring the diverse range of issues and stories in this city, the good, the bad, and everything in between, as told by the people who live it every day. Don't miss This is Vancouver, available wherever you get your podcasts, and I'll talk to you soon.
The municipality of Logan Lake is preparing to go to battle once again against wildfires. The community of 2,000 people barely escaped a devastating blaze in 2021. But as high winds and lightning are in the forecast, they're preparing again.
So here's the equipment listed that is required to be in our structural protection trailer, from our pumps to our hoses to our sprinklers. We will suck water out of the lake into our tender, put it into the bladders, put a pump on that. A hose from the pump runs down the street and it tees off to everybody's home. So everything gets sprinkled with lake water, basically. We do not touch our municipal water. My name is Doug Wilson. I'm the fire chief in Logan Lake, BC, emergency coordinator. I've had conversations with the BC wildfire folks. They have asked us at this time to be on standby for the lightning event that is anticipated to come through our community. My team is fully trained. They've been training since the Tremont Creek fire and beyond. Due to the years of mitigation that was done through the students and our Fire Smart program here within Logan Lake, we've been able to build a 2-kilometer ring around the community by thinning the forest, removing the large debris, the fine debris, and limbing trees to get the separation between the ground and the first tree. We learned a lot. We made some mistakes there. We have rectified those and are going to move forward. We think we are fully prepared.
We're getting an inside look at the investigation of StubHub that led to large-scale refunds of Taylor Swift concert tickets. Devastated Swifties say they paid thousands of dollars to the company, only to find out after their views were obstructed once they got to their seats. CBC host Leanne Young spoke with Jason Proctor, who had a look at documents obtained under Freedom of Information.
Right now, Consumer Protection BC, the agency in BC that regulates the sales of tickets to concerts, that kind of thing, and enforces the Ticket Sales Act of British Columbia, did this investigation. They are currently looking into complaints against StubHub with regards to World Cup tickets. And so I was curious, what happened in this previous undertaking that we saw came out in March in relation to the Taylor Swift tickets? And it's super interesting. They got 171 pages worth of complaints from people who attended the Taylor Swift concerts. Many of those, and again, these concerts happened in December 2024, many of those concerns were people who said, hey, you know, I bought this. I was willing to accept the fact I wouldn't have the perfect view, but I didn't expect to be sitting behind the stage. There's one from a devastated mum who took her 2 daughters, said, you know, Taylor Swift is this sort of unifying force for their family after their father died. And then basically, you know, she's looking at the back of the stage. She's devastated. She paid $5,100 for these tickets and she wanted action. And that's what Consumer BC, Consumer Protection BC, I guess, set out to give in terms of looking at refunds.
Wow, that's a lot of money to be paying to be seated right behind the stage, right? And to be unaware that those were the kind of tickets that you were going to get. And what does StubHub have to say about all of this?
Well, so StubHub, you know, responded that they're sort of a ticket reseller, or ticket marketplace, I should say, not a reseller themselves. They're a place where fans come and sort of sell tickets back and forth. However, Consumer Protection BC said under the law, you are covered by the Ticket Sales Act, and that requires you to give clear, you know, descriptions to people of what they are buying, and also to show the face value of tickets, which is the price the primary seller sold it for, as opposed to just the resale value, so people know what they're paying for.
Right, and to give more of that clarity, which it felt like they lacked.
Yeah, and they also negotiated refunds for people who could prove they were eligible.
Right, okay, all right. Thank you for that. Our Jason Proctor reporting.
One of Metro Vancouver's regional parks is about to get a whole lot bigger. Purchases of land north of Minnetonka Regional Park will grow that green space by more than 25%. The regional authority saw an opportunity to buy 4 properties in Quarry Road and spent $14.5 million to grow the park. Metro describes the area as a conservation hotspot, and it hopes to eventually connect Minnetonka with its northern park neighbor, Widgeon Marsh, in the years to come. There's a view from high up on a hazy summer day in South Vancouver. There is a change coming, and with that weather switch comes some risk. Darius has your BC-wide weather forecast next. Many Ontario communities are now under special alerts because of heavy smoke drifting south from wildfires. It is so bad, it has made Toronto's air quality the worst in the world. Christine Burritt looks at the health effects.
After days of brutal heat across much of the country, an eerie orange haze rolled over most of Ontario. A thick, suffocating mix of heat and wildfire smoke, choking the skies and delivering dangerously poor air quality to millions of people. Those in Thunder Bay saw the worst of it.
Oh, the smoke was terrible. It was so thick you could just about taste it. And then we were getting burnt pine needles, ash, falling down in the community.
With more than 800 active wildfires burning across Canada, emergency room doctors are warning Canadians to be cautious. Those at highest risk include the very young, older adults, and individuals with pre-existing conditions like asthma and heart disease.
It's hot and the air quality is poor. And so it doesn't take long for you to be outside, for you to then start sort of triggering inflammation and irritation in the lungs, and then need to come in for support.
Wildfire smoke contains dangerous tiny particles called PM 2.5. Because of their microscopic size, the pollutants can travel all the way down to the deepest part of your lungs.
And so people will come in with cough, with shortness of breath, with tightness in their chest, sometimes coming in with low oxygen amounts.
Common medications can also make people more vulnerable to heat. And with climate change, some doctors say too many seniors are dying in their homes.
That's why I've been advocating for a maximum indoor temperature bylaw for renters. And that's why I've been providing air conditioner prescriptions for people who are already eligible through existing programs.
With hot, hazy conditions expected in the days ahead, the advice from health officials is check your daily air quality ratings. And if it's smoky out, keep windows closed and move your workouts indoors until the skies clear up. Christine Burritt, CBC News, Toronto.
Canadians have had to deal with many extreme weather events recently, and not just from severe heat and wildfires. An overnight storm in Edmonton has caused more flooding for the second time in less than a week, and after record-breaking rainfall in June. And as Morgan Black explains, it's taking a heavy emotional and financial toll.
From tornadoes to flood, Canadians are dealing with the consequences of more intense weather more often, and the rising costs of insuring their homes, cars, and belongings.
Our main recreation area was the worst that was hit.
Sarah Dano knows about it all firsthand.
It kind of just ruins everything. You're kind of just left to figure it out.
After historic rainfall last month in Edmonton, her basement flooded twice. Now when she heads downstairs, this sight makes her cry.
We've worked really hard on this house.
And she's discovered her insurance did not cover the damage in her basement.
I didn't know it at the time when we had set up our insurance that there was extra coverage for things like this.
And the reality is many people might not be aware of the details of their insurance policy. They just assume that everything's covered.
Experts say the cost and scope of what insurance covers is changing with the weather, and it's more expensive.
Because Canada is just becoming a riskier place to do insurance.
Statistics Canada says Alberta homeowners are paying nearly 400% more for insurance compared to 20 years ago. That's in part due to extreme weather.
We can't change Mother Nature, but what we can do is build more resilience.
Climate researchers suggest governments can do that by updating things like building codes. Otherwise,
the bill to maintain our infrastructure will increase on average to the end of the century by $15 billion per year.
Right now, many Canadians are stuck paying the price for weather they cannot control.
There's limits to what people can do individually.
For Dano, the financial toll of all this has consequences.
We're not going to be able to give our daughter another sibling for a while.
So even as the storm passes, the impacts are far-reaching. Morgan Black, CBC News, Edmonton.
At the Assembly of First Nations meeting in Ottawa, chiefs are pushing back against the federal government's plan to speed up major resource projects in this country. More now from the CBC's Creason Ashkate.
Chiefs here voted almost unanimously on a resolution for the First Nations First Ministers meeting in the fall and what the focus will be. The chiefs are unhappy with Prime Minister Mark Carney's government to streamline major project approvals in Canada without Indigenous consultation, and if those reforms weaken environmental protections or sidestep Indigenous rights. The chiefs agreed to direct the Assembly of First Nations to assist in developing a national First Nations crown table on confederation and constitutional change to advance First Nations inherent treaty and human rights, and to have First Nations included in all fast-tracking legislation and major projects. Chiefs also unanimously passed an emergency resolution calling on Canada to have Indian residential school denialism to be treated as hate speech and included in Canada's criminal code, which was previously dismissed by Canada's Senate. Pimicikamak Chief David Moniaz says 185 children from his community who were forced to attend residential school have still not been accounted for. He says criminalizing denialism would honor the residential school survivors and prevent further harm against them.
Denialism seeks to minimize, distort, and deny the harms of residential schools.
This country perpetuates hate crimes. They condone it. And this is not acceptable to our people, to our survivors, and those that did not survive.
BC AFN Regional Chief Terry Teegee also said there is a rise in anti-Indigenous rhetoric, partly due to Trumpism politics bleeding into Canada. The ball is now in Mark Carney's court regarding the fall meeting scheduled for October and whether or not the Prime Minister agrees to the Chiefs' resolutions. AFN National Chief Cindy Woodhouse-Neepanak says the time for a new Canada that includes Indigenous people is now, and she hopes the Prime Minister is listening. Creason Ashkate, CBC News, Ottawa.
In Washington, senators had pointed questions for acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche. As Katie Nicholson reports, some are worried about his relationship with the president.
It didn't take long for senators to push Todd Blanche on the controversies that have shaken the Department of Justice he helped oversee as an assistant and then acting Attorney General, including the so-called $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund that would have compensated people who claim to be victims of government prosecution, including January 6th rioters. Blanche was pressured again to confirm the fund, panned widely by both Democrats and Republicans, was dead.
First of all, I believe you have said that the weaponization fund is a moot issue. Is that your position?
Yes, it is a moot issue, meaning there is no weaponization fund. The weaponization fund is dead. It's not moving forward.
There were questions, too, about Blanche's relationship with the U.S. president, whom he had previously served as a personal lawyer, making for this awkward moment when he used the present tense.
I'm his lawyer, was his lawyer, and now I'm the Deputy Attorney General. So I met him as his criminal defense attorney.
To me, that told me exactly how he's thinking today. He thinks that his job is to protect the president.
Charlene Rochard is among the Epstein survivors who have released a video against Blanche's nomination.
30 years, 1,200 victims, and 6 million files.
They say the DOJ, on his watch, hasn't done enough to protect their identities or follow leads in new investigations against their alleged abusers. And they attended the hearing to make their presence known.
The horrible redactions, he's left our co-conspirators redacted and survivors unredacted, so all of our personal information is out there, including where we live, our phone numbers, and details of things that have happened to us that are just really horrible that our children can read, your children can read.
The committee will hear from an Epstein survivor tomorrow when it reconvenes. In order to lock down the nomination, Blanche has to convince undecided Republicans on the committee, and it isn't yet clear if he's done enough to sway those who may be wavering. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
The U.S. unleashed a wave of daytime airstrikes against Iran today, but Iran is responding with a new threat to shut down a second waterway vital for oil exports. Crystal Gumansing explains.
The 90-minute-long wave of strikes by the U.S. focused in and around the Strait of Hormuz. It followed Tuesday's 7-hour-long bombing campaign. U.S. Central Command says it's mostly hitting coastal locations, destroying facilities Iran needs to hit ships in the strait. Iran has been attacking vessels it says are using non-approved routes, crippling international shipping and driving up the cost of oil and gas. The U.S. has also reinstated the blockade on Iranian tankers going in and out of the strait, cutting off a financial lifeline for Iran and weakening its ability to leverage the strait in future negotiations. U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to ratchet up the pressure on Iran further.
I'll save the energy targets for last, but ultimately we'll hit energy targets. Next week it gets really bad for them because next week comes the power plants. Next week comes the bridges. We're going to knock out all their power plants. We're going to knock out all their bridges unless they get to the table and negotiate.
Now, striking those civilian-dependent sites would amount to war crimes under international law. President Trump has made similar threats in the past, but didn't follow through. Meanwhile, Iranian officials say recent attacks have resulted in dozens being killed and more than 200 people being injured. In response, Iran attacked its Persian Gulf neighbors hosting U.S. bases. Kuwait, Bahrain, and Jordan all had to deploy air defenses. Iran is also threatening to expand its stranglehold on global shipping to the Red Sea. That would involve its Houthi allies in Yemen, opening up a new front. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, London.
After the break, we'll go back to Ontario, where almost 200 wildfires are burning. Stay with us. More than 180 wildfires are burning right now in Ontario. About 60 are classified as out of control. Large areas are deemed as either extreme or high risk for more blazes to start. Cameron McIntosh now with the race to evacuate and heartbreak from those who've lost everything.
This could potentially overtake us here.
Engulfed in flames.
Yeah. Holy shit.
This rail crew caught in a wildfire near Armstrong, Ontario.
Okay, y'all need to hurry up here. Like, seriously, we're encased in flames now.
CN Rail says they got out safely. Further rail operations in the area temporarily suspended. Not far away Monday, residents in Nami-Goosasagagan First Nation were forced out, some by boat. The community, home to about 130 people, destroyed. Everyone got out.
Now we have nothing. The community burnt down within less than an hour. The houses are gone.
The Ontario government says there are several hundred firefighters grappling with more than 150 wildfires spread across northwestern Ontario. Diane Laybourne fled her home in Armstrong. She's now staying in Thunder Bay with her son, unsure of what's happening.
You know what? I just keep praying that our homes are okay.
Thunder Bay is already out of hotel space. Some evacuees are now going to Toronto. More evacuation orders are expected.
The sad part about it is the North does not, I don't know if we have the infrastructure to move people fast.
Our main priority is to prevent loss of life at the community level and also at the host sites where these community members will be taken.
Near the U.S. border, the Royal Canadian Air Force helped rescue 2 groups of campers from Minnesota, stranded on the Canadian side of the border.
And that speaks volumes to our neighbors from Canada, our friends who've always been there.
Smoke is rolling in. We're surrounded by forest fire. We got to evacuate.
The owners of this fishing lodge saw fires flaring up for days until the flames finally got too close.
We've watched the fire, the smoke from the fire burn for a week. We called and reported it, and we were pretty helpless watching it over the past week.
So far, her lodge has been spared, as those fires, remote and hard to fight, continue to spread, burning out of control. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
This weather update is brought to you by Elections BC. Rules for local elections come into effect on July 20th. Elections BC is here to help.
Darius Madavi, our science and climate specialist here with the BC-wide weather forecast. But let's get the latest from Ontario first, because we know this is clearly devastating for so many people.
That's right. These are large fires that just sparked up a few days ago, and it's generating smoke across a very wide area. Millions of people affected, including those in Toronto and the northeastern U.S. And actually, in the satellite imagery from Monday, you can watch a lot of those fires spark up and see how that smoke has been traveling across the region. And there, you can see those hot spots all pop up just on Monday, just a couple days ago. Now, that smoke continues to travel. Tomorrow, it's going to drop down south of Toronto and head more towards Windsor, London, Hamilton, those areas. But still a lot of smoke moving through the region, and that plume isn't going anywhere anytime soon. There's actually a lot of smoke over Canada. A lot of that is coming from these fires in northwestern Ontario, but we also have many fires up in the northern prairies that are generating a lot of smoke, as well as up in the Northwest Territories. Folks in northern BC know these fires very well, the smoke that's coming from them. Fortunately, not coming their way right now, but it has, and it's been very smoky as a result. We also have a number of fires burning here in BC. A couple that I want to mention, of course, we've been watching these fires, the Brunswick Creek Complex. Some smoke potentially traveling west from there rather than east, the direction it has been traveling in the next couple days. And we have a new fire that just sparked up, currently listed at 4 hectares on the BC wildfire dashboard, very close to Pemberton, very visible from that town. And so we are going to be keeping an eye on that and see how that develops as well. This is what that map looks like with the terrain. Now, I want to talk a little bit about precipitation because there is some coming to the south coast, a bit of good news there. It's not going to be a ton. And in fact, this model that I'm about to show you, I would say is probably one of the more generous ones for Vancouver. I'd say this is probably on the high end of what we are going to get. But 5 to 10 millimeters of rain, I'll be happy here in Vancouver. Vancouver Island also getting some, but thunderstorm risk coming along with that. The southern interior stays pretty dry, though, unfortunately. Most of the rain is confined to the coast. Temperatures there very high, up in the high 30s, 37 degrees next couple days. Bit of a reprieve over the weekend, but also a chance for a heat wave early next week. Fire danger remains high, Dan, and if we take a look at our map, lots of lightning possible tomorrow, including here on the coast.
Doesn't happen often. And when it comes to the Pemberton fire, we also want to thank Allison and Mitch for sending in video, and we will share that when we can. Thanks, Doris.
Thank you.
After the break, why India is hoping to land the Olympic Games in 2036. Stick around.
.org.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox. Immerse yourself in a weekend of diverse culture and live entertainment at the Surrey Fusion Festival, July 18th to 19th. Experience over 50 pavilions, a vibrant marketplace, global flavors, and more. Details at surreyfusionfestival.ca. And ready for the ultimate summer weekend? Join CBC at the Salmon Arm Roots and Blues Festival from July 24th to 26th. Details at rootsandblues.ca.
In Montreal, a group of synchronized skaters is on the ice, training hard.
Synchronized skating will make its debut at the 2030 Winter Olympics. Jay Turnbull explains.
This is the main training center of Les Suprêmes, and as their name suggests, they've reigned supreme on the global stage, winning 4 out of the last 5 synchronized skating world championships. Soon, that global stage will get a lot bigger. Synchro 9 is one of the sports the International Olympic Committee is adding to the 2030 Games in the French Alps.
It was like a lot of excitement for sure. Like it's been like so many years. Like I was a skater, they were telling us you're going to be the next gen going to the Olympics. So we've been waiting for like more than 20 years.
It will be a pared down version, 9 skaters on the ice instead of the usual 12 or 16. Langlois says the world should get ready for a show.
Well, it's the most beautiful sport in the world. First of all, you have like a bunch of people looking at you when they skate. They give you a lot of emotion. There's like artistry on ice. There's also like a lot of like level of high lifts or like group lift, mini lifts, and then you have like all the kind of the discipline mixed together.
Sadie Nicholson moved from Calgary a few years ago to skate with Les Suprêmes. Like her teammates, she's not paid to compete. Far from it.
How much is it costing you per month?
It's pretty expensive. It's around like $1,500 a month. People are working lots of jobs and trying their best to afford it because we all just love this sport and we'll do anything for it.
Nicholson hopes the Olympic exposure will mean more funding to offset those costs. To say this has been a long time coming is an understatement. Leanne Charrette's grandmother hoped to compete in the Olympics. There she is. Then she hoped her daughter would be an Olympian. Now, she finally has a chance to watch her granddaughter.
She's freaking out. She's been texting me, calling me. She wants all the info. She wants to know what I'm gonna do. And I'm like, Grandma, like, I didn't figure it out yet.
The Games are still 4 years away, and these skaters aren't getting ahead of themselves. But let me put it this way, Canada. They have reason to be confident they'll find themselves on the podium. Jay Turnbull, CBC News, Montreal.
Busy ice.
I would say so. India is determined to host its first ever Olympic Games in 2036.
But as Salima Shivji first showed us in the fall, the ambitious bid comes with immense challenges.
Early morning and training is on. Precision and concentration vital as the shots are lined up. For these young athletes diligently practicing an Olympic sport that India excels in, shooting.
Practice. And the Indian supporters go crazy to recognise the bronze medalist.
How cool is this?
It's party time in India.
3 medals in the discipline at the last Summer Olympics in Paris, giving impetus to India's ambitious bid to host the Games for the first time ever in 2036. It's news that makes these 2 teenage shooters cheer.
What do you want to do with this sport? What's your highest goal?
Olympics. Mostly competing in one, they say, but they'd also love to see the Games at home.
It'll be a proud moment for India.
And India has the infrastructure and all, so it's gonna be really great, exciting.
The infrastructure is not quite there yet, but the push is on in the proposed host city Ahmedabad in India's western Gujarat state, where construction on sports venues has already kicked into high gear, as India tries to convince officials with the International Olympic Committee that the South Asian country's time has come. A still developing nation with the world's fastest growing major economy.
The lobbying and charm offensive to get the Olympics has been on for months, and Indian officials keep announcing more investments on sports infrastructure. There's a promise to build more than 10 new stadiums here in Ahmedabad.
There's also enthusiasm on the streets, even if India faces stiff competition with rival bids from Qatar, Turkey, and Chile.
See, India earlier was an underdeveloped country, and now they are taking notice of Indians. Matter of pride.
That sense of pride, a key thread when India's Prime Minister spelled out the country's ambition to land the Games during Independence Day celebrations last year.
हिंदुस्तान का सपना है कि 2036 में
We organized a fantastic G20 summit, Narendra Modi says. It proves India can welcome any major event. Our goal is clear, he says. We want to host the 2036 Olympics on Indian soil. To that end, India's team lobbied hard at the Paris Games. And at home,
पेरिस 2024 ओलंपिक में ये ट्रैक था
There's been a concerted, years-long effort from Modi's government to up funding and praise for athletes. The government keeps talking up the benefits of hosting the prestigious sporting event for the nation, for development. But the risks are very high.
And the games will be declared open.
In 2010, the Commonwealth Games in Delhi were shambolic, plagued by construction delays, corruption scandals, and massive mismanagement. Now, India will get a do-over, with Ahmedabad set to host the Commonwealth Games in 2030, 6 years before the Olympics that India is trying to land in that same city.
Well, I think there are always political factors that push countries and cities forward with bids like this.
But this expert on the economics of the Olympics says it's extremely rare for any games to be a good idea. It's just not a sound investment.
I would start out with a lot of skepticism about it making sense to do it. It's the sort of thing that can either be a neutral force or a slightly positive force, but the odds are stacked against it.
The IOC has reportedly raised concerns over bad governance within the Indian Olympic Association, high doping rates, and India's dismal record at the Olympics. With a meager 6 medals in Paris for a country of more than 1.4 billion people, their highest total ever in a single Games was only 7 medals. But at the shooting range in Pune, as former World Cup champion Shahu Mane completes another day of training, the question marks over India's Olympic bid are completely overshadowed by the possible benefits.
Getting the Olympics is like, it's the massive stage. Yeah, I feel India can host the Olympics in a well manner because they have the infrastructure right now. The government is trying everything to build up.
It's a winning proposition for all of these athletes, dreaming of gold and glory at home.
You have plans for 2036?
Working on it. Have to check the schedule first.
Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News at 6. You can watch this newscast on CBC Gem, our free app, as well as on YouTube and our website, cbc.ca/BC.
And we will have your next local news at 11 o'clock right after the National. So join us then. Good night.